Respected, I want you to stop for just a moment and listen to me. What I am about to share with you is not merely a prophecy or some ordinary word. It is a revelation that struck my spirit so deeply, it shook the very core of my understanding. God showed me something about the year 2026, something so profound that it will determine the direction of your life, the trajectory of your destiny, and the very atmosphere around your future. And today, I am compelled to share it with you because it is not just for me, it's for anyone who is willing to hear, to understand, and to pray with purpose. You see, there is a divine season coming, a season that is unlike any other. It is a time when the ordinary will be set aside and the extraordinary will begin to manifest. But here is the truth. The extraordinary will not come to those who are passive, to those who wait for life to give them a chance. No, it comes to those who are intentional, those who are awake spiritually, those who know how to pray, and those who understand the weight of seeking God with their whole heart. I remember standing in the quietness of my room, seeking God, asking for clarity about what is coming. And suddenly, my heart was gripped by a vision, not a dream in sleep, but a waking vision that burned itself into my spirit. I saw people who had been faithful in the shadows suddenly rising into light. I saw opportunities that seemed impossible suddenly opening like doors in a hallway that had no end. And yet, I also saw the cost of unpreparedness, the ones who neglected their spiritual life, who underestimated the power of prayer, who assumed blessings would fall without preparation. They were left behind, confused and scrambling. This is why the word I bring today is urgent. God is calling us to prepare our hearts, to align our lives, and to understand that 2026 will not just be another year on the calendar. It will be a year that tests the depth of our faith, the sincerity of our devotion, and the intentionality of our prayers. And I tell you, the difference between a life that blooms in this season and a life that withers will be found in the quiet moments of prayer that you commit to now. I remember my own journey. There were moments when I questioned whether my efforts in prayer and devotion would ever yield fruit. I remember nights of fasting, tears streaming down my face, asking God for direction, for wisdom, for favor that seemed distant. And yet, those moments were not wasted. They were investments into a season that I am now beginning to understand. A season that 2026 will demand from all of us. It is a season where prayer will no longer be optional. It is a season where preparation is spiritual, mental, and emotional. God showed me faces of people like you, like me, caught between hope and despair. Some of you have been battling with doubt, struggling with fear, wondering if your life will ever change. But the revelation I bring today is that change is coming. Real, transformative, undeniable change is coming. Yet, it will come to those who position themselves correctly, who are vigilant in prayer, who understand that spiritual readiness is more important than material preparation. The moment you start praying with understanding, the moment you begin to align your life with divine instruction, the moment you take your destiny seriously, it is the moment God begins to open doors that no human can shut. And this is what 2026 will demand from every believer. Prayer that is intentional, seeking that is persistent, and faith that refuses to give up. I want you to imagine a river that flows quietly, often unnoticed, yet holds the power to shape valleys, move mountains, and transform landscapes over time. That river is your spiritual life. What you nurture quietly in prayer, what you invest in fasting, what you dedicate in moments of solitude and reflection. These are the currents that will carry you through 2026. God showed me that many will enter the new year expecting miracles without cultivating the river inside them. And miracles without preparation often pass by unnoticed. I remember speaking to a young man not long ago. He had dreams that were vivid, aspirations that were massive. Yet he was discouraged, frustrated, and almost giving up. I told him, your breakthrough is not about finding the right moment. It is about becoming the right person. The seed has been planted, but your life is the soil, and God's hand is ready to water it. The look in his eyes changed. Hope stirred where despair had taken root. That is exactly what 2026 is going to be about. God is raising a generation who understands that prayer is not a ritual, but a river that nourishes destiny. There is something else I saw. God showed me the subtle dangers of distraction. So many hearts will enter 2026 with heavy agendas, cluttered minds, and fragmented focus. And these things, though they seem harmless, will blind them to divine opportunities. I saw people running after wealth, position, approval, and recognition only to miss divine appointments because their spirits were tired, their prayers shallow, their focus divided. But there is hope. There is a way to avoid this trap. Intentionality. When you dedicate your mornings, your nights, your moments of silence to God, prayer becomes a compass. Clarity replaces confusion. And doors that were hidden begin to reveal themselves. I want to be honest with you. This is not going to be easy for anyone. Preparation is never effortless. Spiritual readiness demands discipline, self-examination, and sacrifice. But the beauty of it is this. The struggle of today becomes the testimony of tomorrow. I remember nights of wrestling in prayer, feeling weak, feeling inadequate, yet refusing to stop. And in those nights, God was not silent. He was shaping me, strengthening my spirit, calibrating my heart to recognize the seasons of breakthrough. That is exactly what 2026 will require. God also showed me something beautiful, the power of alignment. When your heart is aligned with His will, even the storms become your allies. The obstacles that seem unbearable become tools that sharpen your faith, refine your patience, and deepen your intimacy with Him. But when your heart is misaligned, even the smallest challenge can derail you, and the year will pass without the fulfillment of what could have been. This is why prayer is not just asking, it is aligning, it is surrendering. It is positioning yourself where God can move freely in and through you. I want you to hear me clearly. 2026 is a divine year of manifestation. Dreams will become reality. Doors will open, favor will flow, and lives will be transformed. But the prerequisite is not knowledge, not strategies, not connections. It is intimacy with God, deep communion through prayer, and a readiness to obey even when it is uncomfortable. God is calling us to be vigilant, to be persistent, and to be people whose spirits are awake while the world sleeps. I want you to pause for a moment and reflect. How often have you prayed for change, for favor, for breakthrough, but stopped short because it didn't come immediately? How often have you felt like giving up, thinking that your effort in prayer, your sacrifice, your fasting, your consistency, it was all in vain? I want you to hear me clearly today. The effort you put into preparing your spirit, tears you shed in secret, the nights you spend wrestling with God, these are not wasted. They are the foundation for 2026, and they will become your testimony. God showed me the importance of spiritual vigilance. He said to me, many will enter the new season unprepared, and the opportunities meant for them will slip by unnoticed. He reminded me that prayer is not merely about asking for blessings. It is about cultivating discernment, understanding timing, and training your heart to recognize divine moments. It is about becoming so spiritually aware that when God moves, you are ready. You do not stumble. You do not question. You do not miss the manifestation of what He has prepared for you. I saw people who were consistent in prayer, who refused to compromise, who refused to let fear dominate their decisions. And they were walking into a new realm. Their lives were being elevated, not by chance, but because their hearts were aligned with God's plan. And I saw those who neglected the spiritual preparation, those who treated prayer as a ritual, who ignored the stillness of their hearts, who sought shortcuts. Theirs was a path of frustration, confusion, and missed divine appointments. And it broke my heart, because the difference was so simple: commitment to spiritual discipline. There is a lesson here that I need you to understand. 2026 is a year that will reward the persistent, the intentional, and the spiritually alert. It is a year that will magnify the faithful, the obedient, and those who understand the language of God in prayer. I want you to imagine your life like a lamp. If the lamp is dim, it cannot illuminate the room, it cannot guide the path, and it cannot reveal treasures hidden in the darkness. But when your lamp is filled with oil, when your heart is saturated in prayer and your spirit awake, the light you carry becomes a guide, a beacon, and a magnet for divine opportunities. I remember moments in my life when I felt spiritually dry, when the fire seemed distant, when answers seemed delayed. But in those moments, I realized that it was a season of preparation. It was a season where God was building patience, refining faith, and shaping my understanding of His timing. And I want you to understand this too. The challenges you are facing, the delays you are enduring, the frustrations that weigh heavily on your spirit, they are all preparation. They are not punishment. They are divine seasoning that equips you to handle the glory, responsibility, and authority of the new season. And here is the most important truth. God is not just calling us to pray. He is calling us to pray with understanding, with purpose, and with persistence. He is calling us to invest our lives in a way that 2026 will not just be another year, but a year of transformation, of elevation, and of undeniable favor. Your faith will be tested, your patience will be stretched, but your reward will be glorious. And the beauty of it is this: the very things you are praying for, the very dreams you are holding on to will manifest when your spirit is ready, when your heart is aligned, and when your eyes are open to the movement of God around you. I want you to understand something vital. 2026 is not just a calendar year. It is a divine appointment. God is inviting you into a season where the ordinary will be set aside, where the impossible will become possible, and where favor, breakthroughs, and transformation will be the portion of those who are prepared. But preparation is key. It is the difference between walking into your destiny and watching it pass by because your spirit was not ready to recognize it. I saw visions of people whose lives were on the brink of collapse, yet their dedication to prayer and spiritual vigilance pulled them through into unimagined heights. And I saw the reverse, people who were blessed with potential but neglected preparation, who ignored whispers of God, who underestimated the power of persistence in prayer, and they remained in stagnation. This is why what I am saying is urgent. 2026 will reveal the value of your spiritual life, your devotion, and your willingness to invest in prayer as the engine of destiny. God reminded me that the language of heaven is not hustle alone. It is intimacy. The world chases outcomes, but God cares about alignment. He cares about the depth of your relationship with Him, the sincerity of your devotion, and the steadfastness of your faith. Prayer is the bridge, the channel, the atmosphere through which His will manifest in your life. And 2026 will be a year where the spiritually alert will rise above limitations, where divine strategies will be revealed, and where lives that have been dormant will suddenly awaken with purpose and power. I want you to hear me clearly. What you sow in prayer today, the seeds of fasting, the tears shed in secret, the quiet whispers of your heart before God, they are all building a momentum that will carry you through 2026. Nothing is wasted. Every moment of discipline, every struggle endured, every fight against fear and doubted is all preparing you for what is coming. The doors that were once locked, the opportunities that seemed impossible, the breakthroughs that seemed distant, they will open for those whose hearts have been tuned to the divine frequency. And here is the beautiful part. God is not asking for perfection. He is asking for obedience, consistency, and a heart that is willing to be aligned with Him. Even if your steps have faltered, even if you feel unworthy, even if the past has been filled with mistakes, the moment you turn intentionally toward Him, the season changes. I saw people who had struggled for years suddenly stepping into favor, stepping into clarity, stepping into influence all, because their hearts said yes to God at the right moment. So I urge you, do not enter 2026 passively. Do not assume that blessings will simply fall into your lap without preparation. Begin to pray with understanding, with persistence, with expectation. Begin to align your life spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. Begin to cultivate intimacy with God that transcends routine and ritual. For when you do, the river of your life will swell, the doors of opportunity will swing wide open, and the season of manifestation will unfold before you. Respected one, the year 2026 will not wait. It is already moving, already shifting, already preparing the atmosphere for those who are awake. Choose to be ready. Choose to pray with understanding. Choose to be vigilant. And when the year comes, You will not merely survive, you will thrive. You will not merely witness miracles, you will become one respected. I want you to pause for a moment and take this into your heart. God has already prepared 2026 for you. Every challenge you face, every delay, every tear, every struggle, it is all part of the tapestry He is weaving for your life. But here is the truth. The tapestry will only reveal its beauty when your heart is ready, when your spirit is aligned, and when your life is surrendered to Him fully. Do not wait for circumstances to force you to pray. Do not wait for hardship to make you seek God. Begin now. Begin with intention. Begin with faith. Begin with persistence. Let your mornings, your nights, your quiet moments be filled with prayers that connect you to heaven's wisdom, strength, and favor. Let your heart be the soil where God plants His promises. And let your life be the vessel through which His glory flows. Remember this, 2026 is not just a year. It is a divine season of opportunity, of elevation, and of breakthrough. The difference between those who will soar and those who will stumble will be found in the depth of their prayer life, the clarity of their focus, and the strength of their alignment with God. You have been called to rise above mediocrity, to step into greatness, to carry the light of God into every area of your life. So I challenge you today, pray like never before. Align yourself spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Pursue God relentlessly. Trust Him, even when the path is unclear. And when 2026 arrives, you will not merely face it, you will conquer it. You will not merely exist, you will thrive. You will not merely survive, you will walk in the fullness of God's promise for your life. Respected one, your breakthrough is not in the hands of chance. It is in the hands of the one who sees the beginning and the end, the one who ordains seasons, and the one who can turn every tear into testimony. Pray, prepare, align, and watch as God unfolds a year like no other year that will mark the turning point of your destiny.